Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing on today? I am super duper excited, guys. Guess what? She's back. Award winning author ReShonda Tate, guys, has a new one hot off the press with Love from Harlem. Y'all, she's on tour this week. It is hot off the press. This is the book that is highly anticipated. We have been talking about it, all of that good stuff. So you already know what to do, okay? Like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to come on down to the cafe because we are hanging out with the one and only ReShonda Tate. And guess what, guys? She might just spill a little bit of tea. ReShonda, for those who may not know you, my friend, introduce yourself to the people.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I am. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I am ReShonda Tate. I am the author of 54 books. But my 54th book, it took me 3 years. I love this story. I got immersed in this story, and I'm so happy that it's finally in the world.
I love that. I love that. Guys, if you're just joining in, of course, introduce yourself, put a comment, a question in the comment section. Y'all know we like to be interactive here at the cafe as well. Guys, the book is here. The book is here. This is a book, ReShonda, that, of course, I got an early copy. I got an early digital copy. And it was one of those books where you was like, you know what? I'm so ready for this book to come out because I need to talk to somebody. I need to talk to the folks about this particular book. So let's go back to the origin a little bit, the origin and the inspiration behind With Love from Harlem. And guys, this is Hazel Scott's story. But what was that spark, ReShonda? What was that? And I know you are a researcher, all of that good stuff. You are a journalist. But when you discovered this, what was that spark to say, you know what? Hazel Scott is that story that I have to write it.
Yeah, for me, it really was. I was researching Hattie, and Hattie was so different from Hazel. I discovered Hazel in the midst of researching Hattie, but I loved them
Oh,
both. And it was almost like I was meant to see these two very different women who had two different approaches to bringing change. And I was enamored at the
mm-hmm.
time with Hattie McDaniel, and then I became enamored with Hazel. I just loved her story. She was a disruptor. As someone who was in journalism, who used to always want to have our own talk show back in the day, I was stunned to know that I had never heard of her. Person to host a national syndicated TV show. She was a
Wow.
fierce advocate who played for segregated audiences. And I just chose her because we often talk about celebrity activism today as if it's a new trend. But Hazel was doing it when it cost her everything. So writing this book is
Mm.
about reclaiming her narrative, claiming, ensuring that she's remembered as a singular woman rather than just a footnote in history, or a wife to a famous man.
Wow. Wow. Now, one thing about Hazel, I love how, um, for me, I think about when they say, like say her name. If Say Her Name was a book, With Love from Harlem is that book. Literally, because you showed up and you
Yeah.
showed out to bring Hazel Scott to the people. But hearing that, if Hazel Scott, if saying her name was a book, With Love from Harlem is that book, what does that mean to you when you hear someone say that?
It really is just a is not lost in the books of history. You had movie producers who said you'll never work in Hollywood again. She didn't. You had congressmen who said we're going to basically erase you from history. They did, and that is so unfair to her. And so I love the being able to bring those stories back into the limelight. The number of people that are saying to me, "I've never even heard of Hazel Scott," tells you exactly
Yeah.
why this story needed to be told.
I agree. I agree. Now, one thing about this book, you blend politics, you blend romance, you blend the arts, you blend activism. What part of Hazel's world pulled you in first when you think about all those things? And look, ReShonda, if we can say it, honey, there was an entanglement of all these things, okay? But for you, what pulled you in first?
It's the art of the time. I'm using art activism because I'm an artist, I'm creative.
Mm,
I was just drawn to how she used her art as activism. She used her talent
yes.
to do things people in that time you'd be doing. So that's what drew me in. I didn't even know she was married to Adam Clayton Powell Jr. In the beginning. So when I discovered that, I was like,
Listen,
whoa, wait a minute. And then to discover more about that relationship, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm digging deep in this.
listen. Look, and we're gonna talk about him, okay? We're gonna talk about him. Honey, y'all, if y'all have been online, I would say he's trending. Rashonda, I think you have him trending, okay? He have been called some interesting things. Did you know that when you was writing
you
this book
know,
that you would start him trending again?
really became familiar. I've always heard about Al Jr., but I'm not from the area. So I didn't know the extent of the love hate relationship with him. I saw I'm a fan of Godfather of Harlem. A little bit of his character in that. I thought that the actor was just being a little extra, as he oh no he had Adam down to a T. And so it was fascinating to see this man who is just such a powerhouse and so full of a fight for black people, and then he go home and you see a different kind of man. And so it was I actually wrestled with that at the beginning because I was like, oh, we don't like to disparage our leaders, if you will, but if you're going to tell a story, you got to tell it all. You got to be real, and that was what I did. I wanted to show that he was raw, relatable, he was good for the people, and he was bad for his wife.
I love it. I love it. Guys, if you're just joining us, let me just tell you, we are hanging out with the one and only ReShonda Tate. Hot off the press, guys. It is With Love from Harlem. And it is available in ebook. It's available in print. It's available in audiobook. So whatever suits your fancy, you are able to get your hands on a copy of With Love from Harlem. Y'all, this is the book of books. It is a book that you will be just so engrossed in these characters and what is going on. It is tell a friend to tell a friend good. And we are hanging out with ReShonda Tate, and she's spilling just a little bit of tea about her new release as well. So, of course, if you have a question or comment, put it in the comment section for us on today. Now, ReShonda, let's talk about Hazel a little bit more because her confidence was like legendary, okay? But yet she faced profound vulnerability. For you, what was it like to kind of navigate that and the dualities of her character with being that?
Yeah, when I first started doing this, I loved Hazel. When I did my initial
Hmm.
research, I didn't like Hazel so much.
Really?
There was a point where I was like, okay, Hazel, yeah, I was like, okay, Hazel over here messing with a married man. I ain't feeling Hazel. But I had already spent my advance, so I couldn't give it back. So I had to write a book. So I had to figure out how to get into her. And you know what I did? I read her unpublished autobiography. And by the time I was done with that, I said, you know what? Hazel, yes, she messed up by messing with a married man, but she was 22 years old. How many of us did dumb things at 22 years old? She
Mhm.
didn't set out to mess with him. Adam wanted her, and this is a 6'4", powerful. He wanted her, and he got her, and it was one of her biggest regrets. And so, the more I got to know her, the more I remembered the times. This is the 1940s where she had to get special permission just to get an account. And
Wow.
mind you, she was making the equivalent of millions of dollars at the time and couldn't even. So it was a different
Mm.
time for when it doesn't excuse it, but it explains it.
Mm, Now, and this kind of leads us into like the next question when it comes to Hazel, because again, her choices are bold, they're complicated, and sometimes controversial. Rashonda, if I may
Yeah.
say. But for you as the writer, how did you balance honoring her truth with crafting a comparative narrative about Hazel Scott?
Yeah, I use real like her House of
Hmm.
Un-American Activities testimony as anchors. The
Ooh,
things she wrote in her autobiography, while imagining the private conversations that happen behind closed doors. I wanted to show the raw, powerful, and deeply human legend. And there was that she went through. I had the facts of the she went through it, but I don't know what was said in the room. There's a moment where she
Ooh.
confronts Adam. She talks about it. She talks about how she felt, but I don't know, the exact curse words she used. So I have to. That's where my imagination has to come in.
ReShonda, I'm grabbing my tea. Oh my
But it
goodness.
was a
Now,
lot of fun
ReShonda,
about
okay,
this. Yeah.
let's talk about this love story, for a little bit. When you think of these three words that I'm getting ready to tell you, share with us what comes to mind. Passion, power, consequences.
Yeah, that's the story of Hazel's life, of her marriage, of her
Hmm.
relationship. And it was I little had a little bit of apprehension about writing this and covering the story because I loved all of that, the passion and the politics, but the consequences
Ooh.
are what I had a little trouble. In the Black community, we're often protective of our icons. My mother used to say, nobody better say anything bad about Barack Obama or Tom. The thing that we don't want to hear that, but we know they were flawed. Hazel was flawed. She did some
Mhm.
flawed things, but we all are flawed. They aren't Jesus, so and
Mm.
nobody's Jesus, so we're all flawed. So addressing Adam's infidelity isn't tabloid gossip. It's the emotional
Mhm.
catalyst for Hazel's strength. So that's why it's imperative to tell that story. To tell a powerful story, you have to show the shadows alongside the spotlight.
Mhm. Now, speaking of that, and you kind of sharing that little bit of insight with us, um, what do you hope readers understand about Hazel and Adams and that historic, that the things that you mentioned about them that's historic in the book? What do you that people may often miss? What do you want readers to capture from that?
A sense of debt. We owe Hazel Scott
Mm.
our attention. So I want readers to see her
Okay.
as not just a glamorous facade, but as a daughter, a friend, a wife, and a
Mm.
mother who chose her own peace over a powerful but painful marriage. So she didn't know what she was known for, but she broke the doors down so others could walk through the room. I always say before Alicia, there was Hazel.
Mhm.
Before Oprah, there was Hazel.
Mm.
So in the 1940s, you didn't have Black women making demands. She's demanding to these producers, I'm not performing if you segregate these audiences. She
Yeah.
had the
Yeah.
power to do that because they asked to her. It was her contract, and you see that, but she demanded it.
And ReShonda, I'm glad that you brought that up because that kind of leads us into like the next segment of what I want to talk a little bit about, kind of like behind the glamour and like the cost of her greatness, or what have you, because
Mm.
there's a moment where she's kind of forced to choose between her music and family. For you, what does this novel say about the sacrifices as a woman, that she had to make? And think about it during those times. If you could speak on that
Yeah,
just a little
but
bit.
absolutely. One of the things that people often, women especially, often do is take a back seat to our dreams. Everybody else get their dreams up. If we
Mm.
have a mate or a husband, you're supposed to be a helpmeet to your husband. Don't get me wrong, but you don't take a back
Mhm.
seat. And so she actually was bigger than Adam when they started dating. And once they got together, and so she
Mhm.
allowed her light to dim so that his could shine brighter. And how often do we see people
Mhm.
doing that? And so I really wanted to address that, to take a look at what happens when she decides to no longer take a backseat to Adam. When she does that, everything in her life
Mhm.
shifts. She stops shrinking herself to
Yes.
make his ambition easier. She refuses to dim
Yeah.
her brilliance for the sake of his comfort or his career. Basically, she herself, her music, her voice, her
Yeah.
political convictions. But in doing so, she
Ye
disrupts the balance of the power in their marriage.
yes. Yes. Now, ReShonda,
Yeah.
speaking of that, this is a little tea for the people. If you can give us a little tea for the people. Was there a moment in Hazel's journey that broke your heart as a writer? Like as you was writing it, was there a moment in her journey? I know as a reader there was, but for you as
Oh,
a
there were
writer,
quite a
was there a
few.
moment that just like, wow?
Yeah, there were quite a lot of them ended up on the cutting room floor in editing. Because I just had to taper the book down.
Wow.
But she has moments where the weight of everything becomes too much. In real life, she had two of those
Mm-hmm.
moments that nearly just completely broke
Mm,
her. Giving
mm.
everything up, and then you still see your man doing what he gonna do, and you're looking like I've given up all my
Listen,
dreams for this. Yeah.
for this.
So yeah, there was a lot of
Okay.
writing that kind of weighed heavily.
Hmm. Now, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this portion, and I'm sure that you enjoyed writing it, but we have to talk about Harlem as a character.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, Harlem in the 1940s is like it's electric, But for you, you do such an amazing job of bringing it to us live and in color. Tell us about that portion of bringing Harlem in as a character in this book.
Yeah, Harlem is the pulsing backdrop. There, it's so funny because people are reading it and they're going, "I didn't know you were from Harlem," and I'm like, "I'm not. I'm from Arkansas and Houston." But I wanted it to be the pulsing backdrop. It's a character in itself. It was a place of refuge and intense scrutiny for Black people. And so
Hmm.
when Hazel moves from pit of Abyssinian Baptist to late night jazz club, she's navigating the two pillars of the area, faith and freedom. And
Mm.
so I wanted to make sure that I did justice to Harlem, the character,
You
get the
did.
reader to be there and to feel the pulse of Harlem.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Now, Rashonda, oh my goodness. In this book, when I say these characters show up on the page, they show up on the page. And y'all, Rashonda and we had a little behind the scene discussion about one of these characters showing up on the page as well. But you had these historical icons like Billie Holiday, Langston Hughes, James Baldwin that show up on the page. How did you decide which historical figures to show up in this book? Because I mean, there were so many, and I'm sure there are some that they hit the cutting room floor because there was just so many. But share a little bit about that for us.
Yeah, there were so many people that we know, icons, but to Hazel, they were just family and friends. And so in the beginning, when I first wrote the book, the
Mm,
first few drafts, everybody was in there. There's Art Tatum was a family friend. Fats Waller. There were so many. Sarah Vaughn had she had some issues with Sarah Vaughn, or Billy did, and she was navigating that. So all of these people, Harlem, so they were her friends. I had to taper them down just because the book you can't be 700 pages. But Billy kept going. No, I got something else to say. I loved writing about this
Rashonda,
character because we know Billie Holiday, the tragic Billie Holiday, and I loved sister Billie Holiday.
listen, honey, y'all, I have to spill this tea, okay? I share with Rashonda. Billy shows up on the page, y'all. Billie Holiday in this book, I was here for all of it. Okay, all of the shenanigans. Billie Holiday, and y'all, I can tell, and Rashonda, please tap in. Billie Holiday was that friend, okay? She was that friend for Hazel, okay? She told her what she needed to tell her when she needed to tell her. She was gonna let her know, okay? Oh my goodness, tell us a little bit more about, and I know that this is Hazel's story, but share a little bit about that writing Billy character in this story. And I love how she showed up on the page.
Baby, I had to tell Billy many times, can you have a seat? This Hazel story. Because she kept overpowering Hazel, because that's just who she was. But I had to tame her down some, but Hazel was there for her. They were like big, Billy considered herself a big sister to Hazel. And so I love telling their story, showing that side. And I had to taper her down, but she Billy was the type who you were for messing with Adam, but she got her three married men over here on the side, and she was the champion of do as I say, not as I do. I'm your big sister. But it was so much fun to write her story, and loved it, loved it, loved it. But yeah, Billy got a
I
lot of
love
scenes
it.
on the cutting room floor.
And one thing about that, ReShonda, too, because there are some heaviness in this book. There are some things that people that there are taboo topics that people don't talk about a lot in this book. And I loved how it's almost like Billy gave this book that balance of when there was heaviness in it, if that makes sense of what I'm trying to say. But at the same
Yes.
time, I also love that you also attach, there is a little bit of therapy on the page. I don't know if you meant to do that in this book, but there is a little bit of therapy on the
Yeah.
page when it came to Hazel. And oh my goodness, ReShonda, what was that like to write those scenes? If you can, I think you kind of know where I'm going with this. I don't want to give them too much tea, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to give them some tea. But what was that like for you as a writer to kind of bring out that therapy on the page in this book?
Because I
Mm,
want to educate our history that so many people don't know, but those things that are therapeutic. So Josephine Schuyler is a good friend of Hazel's in the book, and she really is that voice because she gave up everything for her husband and
mm,
her daughter.
yeah.
And so I wanted her to serve as a reminder, a voice to Hazel of what happens when you do that. She would
Ooh,
watch Josephine, she would watch her work and watch her give everything. And then she watched Josephine's dreams just disappear. And so I
yeah.
wanted that kind of thing to be the reminder of what happens when you allow your own light to dim.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Now, we got to talk about a little bit about your research and the revelations and some of the responsibility for you as a writer in bringing this story to us as authentically as you can. But for you, how did you approach writing real historical figures with both that reverence and then also that narrative of freedom, if that makes sense, that comes with historical fiction writing?
Yeah, so I am a journalist by trade, so I'm researching and I got to get the facts, the foundation. That's what the foundation is. It's the facts. I spent time at the Library of Congress, at the Schomburg, and 4,000 items like her published autobiography. I read Adam's first wife's memoir. I read Adam's memoir, Billy's memoir. So I did all of this research to understand not only Hazel, but all of those who played a role in her story. I also spent hours listening to her jazzing up the classics because I wanted to understand how she blended Bach with Boogie Woogie. And that helped me understand
Ooh,
her creative spirit, that she refused to be boxed into one genre. And then I used, like I said, the real events as the anchors to the story. The fiction comes in making up all of the things around it, but everything she went through, those are all the facts of the story.
wow, wow. Now, I want to ask you this. We're still in this research, your revelations, your responsibility as a writer. Um, Did anything that you discovered, and this is, I'm trying to get the tea for the people, ReShonda, did anything you discovered about Hazel shift the direction of this book?
It was so in the beginning. I was really in the beginning of my research. I was really, but then when I got to Paris, and she met a young
Ooh,
musician that I had no idea about. Baby,
ReShonda.
I was like, oh, let me go digging some more. And so it was so to watch her, a younger man, but you know what? I'm about to have me some fun. I'm about to do me. And just digging up, and she didn't mention his name in her unpublished autobiography. She just talked about how much she adored him, all of this. And I went on just went on a down a rabbit hole trying to find out who he was. So imagine my surprise when I found out who he was. I was like, oh
And
yeah.
ReShonda. you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna leave them on a cliffhanger because I know who he was. And if you need to find out and get the tea, I'm gonna need you to pick up with Love from Harlem so you can find out who she met in Paris. Okay. I think ReShonda gave you enough tea to go capture it. And I'm just telling you, I was like, oh, that was a wow factor for me, ReShonda. That was a wow factor. That was tea sipping good. Okay. That was tea sipping good. So again, guys, to find out who that person was that she met in Paris, get you a copy of With Love from Harlem. And we will be sharing with you in just a bit of how you can get your hands on a copy With Love from Harlem. If you're just joining us, we are having an amazing tea sipping conversation with ReShonda Tate on today, guys. Her new release, With Love from Harlem, is available now. It is hot off the press. And of course, feel free to put a question or a comment in the comment section for us as well. Now, ReShonda, let's talk a little bit about your creative process because you are doing such an amazing job with these Black historical figures that you are bringing to the forefront, that you are bringing their stories to the limelight. For you, what keeps you committed to this body of work now that you are tapping into this genre of historical fiction?
Yeah, it's really about educating people. I'm going down, I'm looking at all these people that are like, I didn't know who she was, and I went down a rabbit hole. And I love that. That tells me my work is done. When you are reading a book and you want to know more about this person, and then you're left going, why didn't I know about her in the first place? I'm in the historical fiction lane to stay because I love being able to educate people about our history because they are working hard to erase it. But as long as I'm alive, I'm gonna keep trying to shine a spotlight on these erased icons.
I love it. Well, ReShonda, keep doing it, my friend. Keep bringing us these amazing, amazing stories and these amazing icons. Now, we're going to have a little fun a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of rapid fire. Okay. So I'm going to I'll either say a word, I'll say a phrase, and then you tell me what comes to mind. But we're going to start it off like this. So Hazel Scott in one word.
Powerful.
Okay.
Powerful.
Adam Clayton Powell Jr. in one word.
Ambitious.
Ooh. Okay, you ready? Their relationship in one word.
Ooh, I'm gonna combine this. It's all one word together. Collision of two suns. And that is the suns in the sky. Collision of when they come together, baby. It's a battlefield of ego and ambition.
Okay. This is a good one. I think we can give the people some tea. The scene that made you gasp when you wrote it.
Ooh, that is a good one. There were so many, but it has to be when Billy hands her that newspaper about her love in Paris. Because again, not only did I not know about it, I found I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So yeah, there were quite a few gasp out loud moments, but that was definitely one.
Okay. Now this is a good one too. Okay. And then we'll switch gears. A moment in the book that still lingers with ReShonda Tate.
You know what? It is when the weight of the world comes down on her and she is ready to just give up and she sees her son. Her son is watching her. And for me, that was so powerful because a lot of times we will shift if we realize who's watching. We are building a legacy with our children, and it is easy to get on the couch, be ready to give up. But when you look and you see those young eyes watching, they're trying to see how you're handling this. And that was powerful for me because that was the moment where she said, what am I doing? Let me get myself together.
Woo, ReShonda. Y'all, let me tell y'all again, we're gonna leave you on the cliffhanger because that is a mouthful. Get the book, get you a copy of With Love from Harlem so you'll know what we're talking about and that moment that still lingers with ReShonda Tate. Now, ReShonda, we're gonna play a quick round of this or that, my friend. There's no right or wrong answer. It is all things according to you, but it is This or That with Love from Harlem edition. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm
Okay.
ready.
And you can answer this as Hazel Scott would. Okay. So,
All
public
right.
glamour or private truth? What would Hazel say? Public glamour or private truth?
Absolutely private truth.
Okay.
People didn't think that, but
Follow the
absolutely
music. Oh,
private
okay.
truth.
What would Hazel say? Follow the music or follow the man?
Who she would absolutely say follow the music. The young Hazel
Okay.
followed the man and almost lost the
Oh,
music. So she would say follow the music.
oh, you got to teach up in here.
Yeah.
Okay, Rashonda, this is the next one. What would Hazel say? Genius on stage or peace at home?
Ooh, peace at home. That's what she wanted
Okay.
more than anything. Peace at home.
Okay. Last
Yeah.
one. Public brilliance or private freedom?
Private freedom. Private freedom. She found it in Paris, and that's what brought her love and her joy. Private freedom.
Wow, Rashonda, this has been amazing hanging out with you, my friend. The time goes by so fast. I've had an amazing time hanging out with you guys. Let me tell you, there is a giveaway. The publisher is sponsoring a copy of With Love from Harlem. Rashonda, I'm going to get you to help me, my friend. We're going to go up and down the comment section. You may tell me when to stop, and then that person will be the winner of a copy of With Love from Harlem. I'm ready when you are. Okay, if you will tell me when to stop.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. It is
Okay.
available everywhere. Get your copy and let's stop right now.
Okay. Dahlia, you are the winner, my friend. Oh my goodness. If you will
Did you hear me
inbox me
say
your
stop?
information. Oh, go ahead. Yes, you are the winner. If you will inbox me your information, we'll make sure we get you a copy of that. And yes, guys, it is available in audiobook. It's available in ebook. It's available in print. Of course, we have Resist Booksellers, who is located in Petersburg, Virginia. They are our sponsored bookseller. I will be putting their information in the comment section of how you can order from them directly. There are other indie bookstores. Support our indie bookstores. We'll make sure we have that information for you guys. Of course, you can go online, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, all of those good places. And Rashonda is on tour. So be sure, guys, to check her website, check her social media to find out where she's going to be in a city near you. And definitely go and hang out with her. Get you a copy of the book. And of course, Rashonda, we have to tell the people, make sure that you leave a review. I know that she's going to be so appreciative of that as well. And then in addition to that, Rashonda, please tell us, how can we stay connected with you, my friend?
Thank you. Thank you. Follow me on Instagram, ReShonda _ I'm on all social media platforms, and my website is ReShondaTate.com.
I love that. And Rashonda, we have to allow you, my friends, the last words of what you want to say to the people today.
Just thank you. You know, we often write and we're in this vacuum and we wonder, are people going to like this book? Is this going to be the book they hate? 54 books later, so as I pushed send on With Love from Harlem, I was like, okay, this is going to be the book people hate. And I am just blessed to say they don't. So far, I've been getting nothing but positive reviews. And it's so funny because the people that got an attitude with me or that don't like the book are mad because of what Hazel did, staying with her husband. I'm like, it's a lot of women on this earth who you'd be mad at for that. But I love it. I love to see the good, the bad, the ugly I just love people reading, and that makes me so happy and brings me such joy. So thank you, thank you.
I love that, guys. There you have it. We have hung out with ReShonda Tate on today. Her new release, With Love from Harlem, available in ebook, in print, and audiobook. Get you a copy. And not only get you a copy, guys, tell a friend to tell a friend about this book. Book clubs. It's an amazing book for you guys to read as well and to talk about it. Trust me, there is lots of tea to talk about with this book as well. And don't forget, leave a review as well. And go out and find ReShonda Tate as she travel and talk about this amazing amazing story. As we always say here at the cafe, have an amazing day, because we're having an amazing day. And until next time, we'll see you later. Get a copy of With Love from Harlem. Bye-bye.
All right.